Hey friends, so I just finished making a video called Chess and Chat, which is a totally new thing. I've never done anything like this before. I've never made a video like this before. And so I wanted to come on and just do a little pre-intro before the actual intro and video starts to say a couple things. Number one, rest assured, this is not a chess channel. For those of you that are subscribed, you probably subscribe to hear a little bit more chatting, not as much to see chess. This is just one segment and idea in a sea of many segments and ideas that I have for this channel, most of which do not include chess. So if this is not your cup of tea, if this is not your thing, no pressure to watch it. I totally understand, and I will not be offended if there's less views on this because you didn't subscribe to see chess, so no problem. The second thing is that this video is actually longer than I anticipated it to be, and me, in my perfectionism, wanted to cut it down and make it way shorter. I ended up just leaving it kind of longer. I thought, you know what the heck? This video is kind of meant to be a little bit more casual, a little bit more laid back, almost like we're playing chess and having a conversation and talking about some controversial things and some personal things and just chess and chatting. With that being said, again, one more time, if it's not your thing, I totally get it. Close this video, burn it, lock it away. Don't tell any friends about it. In fact, specifically tell friends not to watch it and then tune in to the next time. So thank you guys. And for those of you that do like this kind of stuff and would enjoy this, then enjoy the video. Thanks. What's up, YouTube fam? Welcome to a brand new segment of the Jonathan Dierman Show. I'm actually really excited about this one, guys. It's called Chess and Chat, and it's where we chess and we chat. Well, what do you chat about? Well, we chat about whatever, whether it's personal, political, lifestyle stuff. I got the coffee. I got the hat on backwards. You know what that means? That means this is casual. That means this is just us lingering as we chat, as we chess, as we coffee, as we... I can't think of another word that starts with C. But we're not just playing chess. We are on a quest to the rating of 1,500. I believe 1,400 is what's considered like an average tournament player level, and we're going above and beyond. We're going for 1,500. I've never been in a chess tournament. I'm not a tournament player. I would say that I'm decent. I'm not amazing. If you're looking for a grandmaster, that's not me, but I am going to shoot to get to 1,500. I've never quite been a 1,500 level chess player, but I think we're going to get there. We're going to run after it, and we're starting out at rating 700. Guys, if you want some questions to be answered on a chess and chat moving forward, then just leave your questions either down in the YouTube comments, and I'll try to put as many as I can, or I've given out my personal email address too, which is jonathandierman@mail.com. So if you want to email me a question too, feel free to email me a question. I'll try to answer as many as I can. So this is a new experience for me. This calls for a sip of coffee here. All right, here we go. Game number one. Who is the first opponent on Chess and Chat? C. Craig. I think that's actually Craig. All right. By the way, I will walk you guys through what I do know, which is not a ton, but I'll walk you guys through. First of all, what I do know about chess is that a lot of it, especially in the opening game, is the fight for center control. Okay, and Craig is just playing interesting, so he's pushing, so I'll just stop that right there. He can't move anymore. But he's not getting any center control. There we go. There's a center control move, which is good. So he's attacking this pawn right here, so I'm going to protect it with this knight so that he can't get it. All right, so let's jump into the questions. Let's chat as we play. Oh, come on. I feel like, okay. So my queen is eyeing this rook right here, but he's protecting it with his knight. So if I can get this knight out of the way, then I can maybe take, let's see. Okay, so let's put this knight here with the goal of pressing this forward. He can't take here because my knight's protecting it. It's going to kick this knight out, and then maybe I can snag this rook. Let's see if that works. I'll have to move this knight out of the way. Anyway, all right, so let's jump into the chatting portion though, guys. Let me try to do both. Let me try to chess and chat at the same time. So I got a few questions here. Number one, what is your biggest political fear? I guess politically, my biggest political fear right now, it probably has to do with censorship. Let me first back this pawn up with another pawn. He may take here. Take the trade. Stacked pawns are not the best, but whatever. Then here we go, guys. So I moved the knight, and now that gave me an open lane to snag the rook, which I'm going to do there. So particularly censorship with hate speech, right? So the reason why hate speech in particular is once you declare that speech that is considered hateful is bannable, right? That if anybody is conducting themselves in speech that is in the hateful category, that you can now ban them. The problem with that is who gets to determine what's hateful, right? I think we would all agree that speech that is harsh and hateful and demeaning and racist, or you name it, right? We don't like it, right? We don't want it. We don't want it to exist. I wish it didn't exist. The thing about censoring speech is it never stops, right? It always starts. It always starts on the things that we can probably, like 99% of people can agree on, right? So something crazy, so hateful, so demeaning, right? Evil, it's evil to everyone. And it starts there. And then because most people agree with it, and so people won't fight it. And who wants to stand up and say this guy who said this evil, disgusting thing should be able to say it, right? He should be able to have a platform. Most people don't want to do that. But from there, the window just starts shrinking and shrinking until it starts including things with you and with me. And then you start saying, well, anyone who has this opinion and doesn't agree with, you name it, well, they're being hateful, they're being discriminatory. And so it just keeps going. It's a snowball effect. This is the price for freedom, guys. The price for freedom is that we have to deal with some ridiculous people. Threatening this rook, he may trade and take it with the knight. But I'm okay with trading that at this point because I'm up and I feel like I'm in a winning position. I feel like I'm going to win. Craig, get out of my face. Okay, so I'm going to move here. Wait, where was I before? Okay. I'm going to move here. I'm threatening this knight. Oof. Guys, I think I see it. If he moves this knight, he's in trouble. If he moves this knight, I'm going to go here, check. The only space he can move is here, in which case I'm going to bring this bishop up. So he has to move his king, and then I'm going to hit him with the queen. First, he'll block here, but then I can just take here. And then, okay, so let's try it. So boom. He's going to move down there. I'm then going to hit him with the bishop. There we go. He's going to move his pawn here. I'll then hit him again and get his queen. Do it. Do it. There it is. There it is. Got it. Let's go, Craig. This is a pre-move, by the way. I did the move before he moved. You can do that. So if you think you know what they're going to do, or if you do know what they're going to do, you can do that. So this hate speech, the Overton window just gets smaller and smaller, and there's no stopping it, guys. So that really, really concerns me is when you have people in power, and when we choose to give people power, right? Like even the social media companies, I get they're private, but when they have that much power, and when we allow monopolies, the problem is they're in a monopoly, right? This has always been an issue with capitalism in this game. This has always been an issue with capitalism, even, is some people have deemed capitalism as the worst system we have except for everything else. In a lot of ways, it really raises the overall wealth of a nation or a population. But one of the big hotspots with capitalism has been these monopolies. How do we deal with them? How do we deal in a free market when monopolies rise up? And that's what's happened here with the tech companies. My Twitch says to go here to threaten both the queen and the pawn, but then he'll take my pawn here, get me in check. So first I'm going to protect this pawn, and then I may go here. So he's threatening the mate right here. If I don't do something, he'll go here. Let's just do this. So we have these monopolies with these big tech companies, and then there are a lot of people that are pushing for the government even to start cracking down on people that are hateful or discriminatory. And again, we're all in agreement that we do not like when those things happen. It's tragic. I'm going here, threatening the fork with the queen, or pardon me, the king and the rook, where the knight's attacking both at the same time. He can't protect both. Okay, that was an interesting choice. So he moved his king. I wonder if I can get something creative. Ooh. So my goal is this. I want to move this pawn to free this bishop up to go here, but first I have to bring this knight probably here, because if I bring the knight here, he's going to be threatened. He's going to move his queen. I don't want him to move his queen. But then he may take the trade. So let's see. Let's just move the pawn. Ultimately, I was hoping to get a little fork here where the bishop's attacking both. Let's see. If he doesn't take this trade, then he's in trouble. He's got to trade the bishop with it. Okay, he didn't. So now here I have a fork between the king and the queen. And if he just takes the bishop, then my knight takes it. But he's in check, so he's got to get his king out of check, but his queen's gone. Bye-bye. And now again, threatening another fork here between the king and the rook. Okay, and he let me do it. So the problem is with this whole fight on free speech, once you hand over the levers of power to a certain group, whether that's a monopoly like the big tech companies, whether that's the government, eventually they will be used against you. Eventually they will just get tighter and tighter reined. He's threatening this queen, but he's also threatening the pawn. So I'm going to move the queen in a way that also protects the pawn. So right here, so he can't go here, because then I'll just take his knight. Anyway, guys, so I'm a big freedom person. I believe that it's worth the payment of having to deal with people that are way over the line, people that go way too far. Let's just kick this knight out. So move. Next question. Why did you get married so young? Love, baby. That's why. Love. Actually, I got married so young. So I got married at 19, first of all. Let's take a little sip of strength. I got married at 19. And the reason why I got married at 19, first of all, pinning this knight, can't move. So I got married at 19 because, first of all, I'd always wanted to get married young. It's something that I'd always wanted to do. And I told my mom, I remember when I was a kid, I told her that I can't wait to get married because I have so much love to give. And I did. I had a lot of love in my heart to give. I was really excited to get married. It was a dream of mine. And I had actually recently just changed my life before getting married. I had just recently changed my life. And part of what my life changing looked like was I surrendered myself fully to God and decided to follow God, not just partially, but with everything I got. When I got married, when I was wanting to get married, the first thing that I did was I did seek after God. I did pray, and to some of you this may be foreign, but I did pray, and I felt good about it, and I felt at peace about it, so I brought it to my parents. I asked them to pray. I trust them a lot. I brought it to her parents, asked her parents to pray, trust them a lot too, and everyone felt good about it, even though I was only 19. I felt great about it. I mean, I was 19. I was so excited to be married, especially, I mean, when you do things a little bit differently. So I part of my story is I certainly was not perfect in my walk with God. I wanted to really not mess around and fool around with girls before marriage and all that, and I didn't succeed at that. I didn't do well at that. I wish I would have, but I didn't. But at the time that my life had been changed, and that's game, queen right here, mate. At the time that my life had been changed, I made a decision from that point that I will not cross lines physically, and according to what the Bible says, again, this may be foreign to some of you guys, but what the Bible says is the Bible says that sex outside of marriage is a sin, right? The Bible calls that fornicating. When I started dating Marlene, it's also, you're like not having physical relations with this person that you love until you get married. So heck yeah, I wanted to get married, but the bottom line, why did I get married? I didn't get married because of that. I got married because I fell in love with a woman who loves the Lord, a great woman. The people around me, they felt great about it. And yeah, and that was 6 years ago. Coming up this year, it'll be 7 years. We have 3 beautiful babies now. Want one more, and never regretted it for a single second in my life. It's been an adventure. It's not perfect. Our marriage is not perfect, but it is enjoyable. And I deeply, deeply love my wife. So political topic you feel the strongest about? Abortion, of all the topics that are in the political realm. I'm very, very pro-life. If you follow this channel for any reasonable amount of time, you probably know that I am very pro-life. I consider the lives of unborn babies just as valuable as any life. So that's probably the issue that I'm most passionate about, though, is I think the millions of babies that have been aborted, I'm convinced that every single one of them have a purpose. That's probably the thing that I'm the most passionate about when it comes to political topics. This guy's ranked 869, so he's significantly higher than we are right now. So I do got to give this guy a little respect here. Sid, 1908. Geez, Sid is old. My goodness, 1908. I'd assume that's not his birthday. Okay. He did just give me a free pawn. He can't take it with his queen because it's protected by a knight. So Sid, you're disappointing me a little bit here. You're 112 years old. You'd think at this point you had a little bit more experience with your pawns. In all seriousness, he does seem like a good guy. Other than that move, he seems like he's got a good heart. So give him the benefit of the doubt to Sid. Okay, so let's see. What can we do here? Let's go safe for now. I'm going to castle. Next question. Favorite color? My favorite color is blue, but I wouldn't say it's just like a standard blue. I would say it's more of a small river glazed baby blue with maybe like a pinewood tint slightly, but not as an overtone, like an undertone of pinewood tint is what I would say that my favorite colorist. Stimulus checks. What do you think about stimulus checks? By the way, I have heard some people that have felt convicted about using a stimulus check because they're saying that it's not meant for them, people in particular that have continued working through the pandemic, because I've heard them mention that it's not for them, so they felt convicted about it. But actually, stimulus checks are for them. They do help those in need. That's ultimately why we're doing this, but it's also to stimulate the economy, which means we're putting money in people's pockets to help them buy more stuff, which ultimately helps more people to stay hired and to stay in the workforce, yada, yada. Also, it does help with some people that have genuine needs and all that, but you shouldn't feel guilty about spending your stimulus money, even if you have continued working, because that's what it's there for you to spend, for you to stimulate the economy, and some of you are saving it. And that is fine as well. That's actually probably wisdom. So I'm threatening the queen with my knight. I'm threatening the bishop with my knight. I'm threatening the queen with my rook. I'm also threatening my queen going right here. Interesting. So he opted to trade the queen for the rook. So I'll get it with the pawn. But first, let me get a check here. Oh my gosh. I cannot believe I just did that. That is humiliating. And I cannot believe that he didn't catch that. That is equally as humiliating. So the thing is, I could just take, that's such a blunder. So he could get me with his knight, but he didn't. I could take the queen, but then he'll take my queen. So instead, I'm going to get him in check again. So that way he has to move his king again, and then I'll take his queen. That way he can't take my queen back. So the stimulus checks, that's what they're there for, guys. They're there to be used. They're there to stimulate the economy. Do I think the government should be sending stimulus checks? I am big on the reality of the national debt, that we do have a national debt crisis. And at some point, somebody's going to have to pay. We live in a fantasy land if we think that we can just continue racking up unlimited debt and it's never going to cost us. That's living in a fantasy world. And so it will cost us. It absolutely will cost us, and we will eventually have to pay for it. GG's, Sid. We'll eventually have to pay for it, and maybe it's our kids, maybe it's our grandkids. It's probably more like our kids than our grandkids. But I'm not for just going in deeper debt. And so because the government is stepping in and mandating these lockdowns to happen, because of that, I understand why the government has a responsibility to take care of the people. However, I think it should be state by state, because I think that the states that choose to go with more extreme lockdowns should have to pay the price out of their pocket for that. Why should taxpayers in Texas or Florida, that's been way more lenient on the guidelines, where their economy is not hurting as much, why should those taxpayers have to pay for the stimulus checks to go to Californians and to go to people all across the nation when it's the state's decision? So I think that each state, personally, I think that the states should be responsible to cover the costs for depending on how strict they're being. But I do think normally I'm not for government getting involved in stuff like this. Wow, he didn't like that position, apparently. I'm not normally for the government getting involved in these kind of things. But again, because the government is, in my opinion, in a lot of ways, overstepping, forcing businesses to shut down. And I'm not saying that shutting down businesses or people staying in and staying safe is necessarily a bad thing. I'm saying that I think that it should be more of the people's choice, and they should risk assess for themselves. But because the government has stepped in and, in my opinion, overreached in a lot of these areas, I see how it can warrant the government also overreaching to help people financially. I get it, is the bottom line. I get why they're sending out stimulus checks. So I'm going to move my knight here. I want to get this bishop out. I don't like this bishop in here, so I'm going to move it here. And the bishop's trapped. It can't go here because I'll still take it. I can take it here. If it goes here, it gets taken by this knight. Here, it gets taken by this pawn. And here, it gets taken by the king. So let's move this knight here to get rid of this bishop. We're going to end up trading, but this bishop is pretty powerful, eyeing down this pawn right here. I don't like it. And I want to get my bishop here, honestly, because I'm going to play a little bit of an aggressive game if this guy will let me. I want to eye down this pawn and this square right here. So, okay, next question. Least favorite job that you've ever had? The least favorite job that I've ever had was doing door-to-door sales as a solar salesman. I hated that job. Okay, maybe hate's too strong, right? I got to be more grateful than that. Let's take, and if he takes, then I'll take. I'm okay with that. Okay. So the least favorite job, doing sales, is just not my thing. I feel like I can do it. I feel like I can convince people to purchase something. And I did feel like overall the product was a good product overall with the solar. In fact, if you want to buy one, just go to solar panels/Jonathan Dearman and you can pick some up to. No, I'm just kidding. But the thing is, I just don't like being pushy. I don't like being pushy. It's not my thing. I feel really bad pushing people. And that's the thing about sales is in order to be a good salesman, and there are a lot of people that are great salesmen, and I have the utmost respect for them. But the thing about being a good salesman is you really have to be okay with being pushy. Because a lot of people, one of the things you learn in sales is that a lot of people start out as a no and then turn into a yes as you push them. In fact, sometimes even the majority of people that you get to buy what it is that you're trying to get them to buy start out as a no and then turn into a yes. So you have to be willing to push past that no. And some people are born with that gift, and I am very impressed by that. Kudos to you if you're a salesman. I do not do well with pushing people and with trying to convince them to do something even when they're clearly being annoyed. They want to be done. They're done with the conversation. I just don't do well continuing to press. And so for that reason, the door-to-door salesman thing was the worst job I've had. As far as for me enjoying it, it was an okay job. It's a good job. It's just I didn't personally enjoy it, especially also knocking on people's doors. You could tell every single person that opens the door, they're instantly irritated with you because you're coming to their house and you're and you're knocking on their door when they're in the middle of stuff. And so anyway, so that was probably the job that I least enjoyed out of all the jobs. All right, let's see where we're at here. Kind of went on autopilot mode a little bit. This bishop's really powerful right here too, by the way. Pinning this pawn can't move anywhere, attack anything. Not this way. I mean, the pawn can't move over here or here. Because of this bishop. Okay, so let's move the queen up. So my goal right now is to castle and then start pushing these pawns up. Just to pressure this little area that he has over here, this little fortress protecting his king. We're on the hike here to 1500. Trump impeachment. What do I think about Trump's impeachment? What did he just take? My pawn. He's threatening my rook. If I take, he'll take with either his knight. I don't like this situation. I don't like this at all. I guess I'm going to have to take it. He may get me in check, in which case, okay. Oh my gosh. Now he's got my rook. Dang it. I totally miscalculated that. We got to see if we can come back from this in some way. Let's see what we can do here. Dang it. I cannot castle anymore. I can't block it with here. He'll get me there. I obviously don't want to block with my queen. So castling's out of the picture. Man. Oh my gosh. Dang it. This was terrible. This was a terrible, terrible game. Good job, Greener. GG's, buddy. Stinking. Oh, I'm Greener. I'm going to let you talk, get you confused, and then... I'm just kidding. Okay. Yeah, this was awful. Not looking good, boys. I'm going to pick it up right now. Let's go. Baby picked it up. Fraps. Resigned straight out the gate. That's called fear, intimidation. Must know me maybe by my icon, maybe by my name. He recognizes it. He doesn't want to mess around. You want to dance? That's fine. All right, no more losses for a little while at least here. Dude, that's not good if we're going to 1500. Trump impeachment. Trump impeachment. So this is obviously a huge topic here, guys, with President Trump being impeached for the second time. Definitely have some opinions on it. First of all, let me just say this. Politics in general are just really annoying to me, which is kind of funny for somebody who has a channel that's literally political. But politics just kind of drive me crazy, and honestly lately more than ever. I guess if there's one thing that bothers me the most, it's double standards, right? It's inconsistencies in character. It's treating one side or treating one person one way and treating other people a different way when they make the same mistakes, yada yada. So with that being said, we're talking about Trump's impeachment. We all know it. I mean, it's just a little bit of a side note. If he goes here, he'll fork the bishop and knight, and he's going to get one, so I don't want him to go there. So I will go here, and I'm willing to trade the knights. I mean, we all know this. We all know that if the identical situation happened, but it was the other side, right? So if the identical situation, just as inflammatory, just as elevating of the temperature, but it was Barack Obama or it was Joe Biden instead of Donald Trump, we know that everyone would be flipped, right? The people on the right would be very accusatory, much more than they are with Trump, and people on the left would be very defensive, unlike they are with Trump. So we know it's obviously super inconsistent. We understand that. We understand that everything's partisan now, which that's if there was one thing that I could just snap my fingers and change with political conversation, it would be the partisanship that we have, where everything is now partisan, where everything that's said is not about has been said. It's all about who's saying it, and that's how you determine. That's how you determine if it's right or wrong. Is not what was said, but who's saying it, and that's just terrible to me. That's a terrible. I should have taken it with my bishop, honestly. But that's a terrible thing, that it doesn't matter anymore who's saying what. It only matters. What is being said. It doesn't matter what's being said. It only matters who's saying what. I think that's a tragedy, but. Do I understand where they're coming from? In some ways, Trump did elevate the temperature, and I think more than what he should have, for sure. Was he specifically calling for the Capitol riots? No, he wasn't. I think impeachment and trying to remove him from office like a week before he's going to transition out anyway is kind of dumb, honestly. Strikes me as a little ridiculous. Oh, that was game. Not like checkmate, but he lost his rook. That's it. So anyway, I think the impeachment, I think impeaching the president again right before he transitioned out is a little dumb. I get that he was elevating the temperature. I get that he didn't directly call for the violence, but I get he was elevating the temperature. I have some issues with it, but I do think it's partisan. Ultimately, I think it comes down to it. All of this is partisan. And even with the first impeachment, with the whole Russia thing, it's partisanship. And I wish that was not so. Optimistic or pessimistic about the future? Honestly, by nature a little bit, I'm a little bit pessimistic. And I tend to view things, nice, another win, let's go. Intimidation factor. I tend to be more pessimistic overall, just in general, and I don't want to be that way. It's not like I'm choosing to be that way. Just my natural inclination is to be a little bit more pessimistic about the direction that we're going. When I look at young people, another win. Let's go. Good night. I don't want to play this guy. Another win. What in the world? This doesn't feel right in my quest of 1500. Oh my gosh. I'm not trying to play this guy. It keeps pairing me up with Sexy Man Chili. And I am not trying to play this man. Okay, I guess I'll play him. But first, he already gave me 3 wins by just resigning. Okay. So anyway, part of the reason why I feel like I'm a little bit pessimistic is when I look at young people and the current things that they believe about. For instance, like I said earlier, censoring hate speech and all of that does get me a little freaked out because young people represent the future. Those are the people that are going to be ruling the country in 20, 30 years. And so I am a little bit concerned when I see especially the censorship, when I see the craze and rave about socialism, that honestly kind of freaks me out a little bit because I don't think people quite understand the reality of socialism. I think it sounds great in theory to some people, but I think in practice is not what they're expecting. That's my opinion. So I am a little bit pessimistic, but not to the point that I don't think there's hope. I just am a little bit concerned, quite honestly. Best part about being a dad, it's hard to pin down just one, right? Of course, there's so many great aspects of being a dad. Well, I'll give you just one example. One of my favorite moments. This is like a small moment. It's not, I mean, there's obviously deeper things than this, but just a small little moment that I had the other day. Came home from work, and when I got home, just that little moment where my kids, both of them run up to me, my 2-year-old, 5-year-old, we have a 1-year-old who kind of waddles up a little slower, but the 2-year-old and 5-year-old, they run and shout, "Daddy's home, Daddy's home." That feeling that I get when they run up and hug me, it's hard to describe if you've never had that before. If you're not a dad, if you're not a parent, and those of you that are parents, you know what I'm talking about, but it's hard to describe what that does to the heart, but it does a lot. And so anyway, there's obviously deeper things and better things about being a parent than just those little moments, but those little moments combined equal just a fulfillment that's very, very special. All right, let's focus in here. Let's beat this guy. This will be the last game here. All right, let's get aggressive. I'm gonna play a very aggressive line here. Okay, Ish. I don't like it. He's attacking this twice. I guess I could go here. Again, we're playing very aggressive. He can't take because my knight will take. Can't take here because my knight will take this. I think his only move's there, right? And then I wonder if I go here. Is that a trapped queen? I think that's a trapped queen. He can't go here because I'll take him here. He can't take here because my knight will take him. He obviously can't go here or here. I think that's a trapped queen. Let's go. Got him, boys. See ya. There it is. Got him. There it is. And that'll do it for the chess and chat for today, guys. Guys, if you liked this video, if you enjoy this kind of content, I know, listen, I am not a pro at chessing and chatting, but if you like this video and if you enjoy this kind of content, leave a comment down below, guys. Leave a like. Let me know if you have any questions. And if you don't like this content, don't worry about the comment. Just leave the like. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you guys at the next Jonathan Dearman show. Peace out.